I've been through a lot of fight weeks. I like to get the sense of, fighters, their confidence level, how they're feeling, if they're feeling any nerves the week of the fight. I got to say, Germaine de Randamie, and I know that this is just kind of her personality, but she is coming into this fight, it feels like, with absolutely nothing to lose. This was not necessarily an opportunity that she, had seen coming on the horizon. She jumped at it, and she's very loose. Meanwhile, I think Holly Holm is feeling just a little bit of pressure because she's coming off of that 2-fight losing streak. She doesn't want her career to be defined by that win over Ronda Rousey. Is that sort of what you've sensed out of these two as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you watched, UFC Embedded, Germaine is having fun. She just seems like she's having a blast, and it's an interesting fight. I mean, two of the most decorated, female strikers in the UFC. I'm looking forward to this fight. This fight should be fun.
Yeah, and, we know that one of your favorite sayings is, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see what happens. Don't predict the future too much. But you're going into, as I mentioned, the first ever 145-pound female fight. A lot of us are sitting here thinking to ourselves, like, there's not really a division. This is just a 145-pound fight. There's no division after it. I know that you're approaching this as, we will see what happens, but do those words ring true even more so than usual? I mean, do you really not know what's going to happen with this 145-pound division beyond Saturday night?
Yeah, definitely. We did this thing for we did this thing for I got Mickey Gall calling me on the phone right now. I have to give it to my guy. So we did this thing, obviously, because Cyborg was freaking out and didn't want to make, 135 or 140. So we pulled the trigger. Then the stuff goes down with her and USADA, which is actually looking really good now, by the way. Apparently, the three things that she has is what this medicine is used for. So it's looking really good. So it was looking bad for a minute. Now it's looking better. So we're in a good place. This fight's going to happen, and I truly believe that whoever wins this title on Saturday night will fight Cyborg for the title. Then from there, you make another fight, you do this, and slowly but surely you start to build a division. Normally we're more, things are more thought out, things are more planned out. For instance, we took that whole 115-pound division from Invicta, right? We bring them in, we put them on the Ultimate Fighter, and we crown a champion right there. Yep. That's normally how we do things and how things are planned out, but this wasn't. So this is all a work in progress, and we'll see where we go from here.
Yeah, it would be a little bit of a godsend, I got to believe, if Chris's situation has improved as you say it has. And this is a story I've been following as well. As she tested positive for the banned substance in December. What are you hearing from her camp? And I know that this is difficult sometimes when you're talking about medical records, but why all of a sudden a little bit of optimism that you might get Chris back sooner rather than later?
Well, everything that I just said, the drug that she had taken, yeah, she should have immediately let USADA know about it. But, it's legit. She was legitimately has these three separate issues, and that's what that drug is used for. And the doctors are saying it, and it's looking good for her. So yeah. I like it. Well, I like it a lot.
Well,
and you have Amanda Nunes, who has said, I would love to move. Obviously she's got to defend her title a couple times, at least. And she's saying she would love to move up and like to fight for that title too. So, it's going to get interesting. We'll see how this thing plays out. And like I said, it's all a work in progress.
Well, if Chris Cyborg does get cleared and she avoids a suspension, she's able to come back, let's just say this summer sometime. Are we positive that the winner of this fight wants to fight Chris Cyborg? I know that that's sort of how this fight came together, is that Holly was in negotiations about potentially facing her. Germaine, was also in discussions about potentially facing her. But it also seems like when you talk to these two women, they both continue to mention bantamweight. I'm not done with bantamweight. I still have a future in bantamweight. Are you pretty confident that whoever wins the title wants to be the featherweight champion and face Chris Cyborg this summer? Again, we'll have to see how the thing. But yeah, I mean, why would you not want to face, Chris Cyborg, especially if you're Holly? You already held that title, and you had 18 titles in boxing. And if she could go in and she could beat Chris Cyborg, I tell you this: I offered her the fight with Chris Cyborg, and Holly was pumped.
she wanted that fight and everything else. Holly's camp, which is notorious for doing these type of things, didn't like the fight. So there's how that goes. But those guys are notorious for doing that. Notorious. Listen, if you have your champion and you believe in her, I don't know how you would ever tell anybody not to take a fight.